Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for day 3 of this test match between England and South Africa. Now, currently we do see South Africa batting. They are sitting 98 for 3 after the 41, still trailing by 166 after we saw some very class batting from England on day 2. Although Jimmy Anderson, his last couple overs, looks like he might be able to get that ball to talk a bit, to make it swing right back in, hit Peterson below the belt, I guess is the best way of describing it. But I hope you guys are all doing well. There's been a whole heap of sport on, hence why we are only starting this live stream at 1 a.m. New Zealand time rather than being able to cover the earlier session. But I hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you've been enjoying the rugby, the cricket, the football, all of the different sports that we have got on currently in the world. But I hope you guys, I'd say I hope this one goes to day 5. I was going to say I hope you guys want it to go to day 5, but I hope it does. But we are going to need South Africa bat for a very long time for that to be a reality. But Jimmy Anderson about to run in, bowl this one. Nice bit of swing on that. Van der Dussen currently pretty well set. England are playing good cricket. Says Ahmad, although firing back not too badly at the moment, South Africa, as long as they don't lose any more wickets in this session, I think they could definitely get themselves towards that trailing target by maybe the end of today, maybe the end of the session tomorrow morning. But they do need to make sure that Peterson and Van der Dussen both keep themselves at the crease. But Ben Stokes wouldn't mind picking up a wicket or two. Got himself a century in that first batting performance from England. So they still will be able to bat again, which is why South Africa can't really accept anything less than maybe 300 plus. That was a nice in-swinging delivery from Anderson. How much do you think England will need to win in the second innings, says Ahmad? So if we get to see these two stay batting for quite some time, I'm going to say England may need to try and... 165 is a lot, though. And I think it's going to be tricky. Hey there, Kiwi Lads, says Nathan. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Hope you aren't all sported out after seeing all of the Rugby Championship. The thing is, this is not the last live stream we have got for today. In fact, it is far from it. We have got 10 more matches of the sevens that we are going to be covering later on in the day. And then I believe in about 16 hours' time, George is going to be finishing work and we are going to buy a bucket of KFC. So still a bit of time catching. No, it's just outside. And that's going to be working its way down the ground, possibly for one that was a close opportunity for Pope to be able to take that catch. Just the one opportunity that they wanted, but it doesn't quite find the hands that they were after. Ollie Pope, he's disappointed with that one. Just kind of scooped up. It was a great lead from Jimmy Anderson. Ended up popping up. But yeah, I'd say England, I don't see them needing to chase down any more than 50 to 100 to be able to catch up with South Africa. It's really going to come down to how these two bat it. Just hit the hand of Ollie Pope. Got a finger to it. In 4 hours' time, sevens kickoff, says Nathan, a little bit earlier on. So it is going to be 4:20 a.m. the first game that we are doing for the sevens, and that is South Africa taking on the USA. Which session are you streaming tomorrow, says Ahmad? Oh, that was close to running on to the stumps. I believe the session that we are going to be going for, I've got to check my schedule. There's quite a bit on at the moment in the world of sport. So I will let you guys know the sevens live streams that we are going to be doing. As my goodness, as you are, Machine Buddy, says David, you are too, mate. It's 1 a.m. and you are still up and about. Are you going to be watching the sevens, or do you think you'll be asleep by the time they do get underway? Do let me know. So the first game that we have got, it is at 4:20 a.m. today, South Africa versus USA. Then we are covering Samoa versus Kenya at 5:26, 6:10 a.m. It will be Fiji versus Wales. Nice ball from Anderson. Still getting that ball to swing around quite a bit, although it is hard to control when it does swing that much. Stuart Broad having a chase after that ball in the deep and has been able to keep it to just the 3. Then after that, we've got New Zealand versus USA at 7:48, 8:32 Samoa versus Scotland, 9:31 Fiji versus France, 10:15 Australia versus Argentina, 10:59 big game New Zealand versus South Africa, or as I like to call them, the two sides weren't quite able to get the job done into the Rugby Championship. And then after that, we've got England versus Samoa at 11:43, and then at 1:05 p.m. will be Fiji versus Ireland. I want to, but I'm a little depressed after that loss, says David the Mod, although I guess, that's a nice shot from Van der Dussen, just sticking the hands out and getting it straight out of the middle of the bat. Yeah, it was going to happen eventually, I'd say, for Argentina to be able to beat us on New Zealand soil. So at least it was in a performance where the All Blacks didn't look like they were quite able to find their momentum, rather than a game where the All Blacks played some of their best rugby and still got beaten. if that makes you feel any better, which probably doesn't, to be fair. But yeah, hopefully we're entertained throughout the live streams. We did quite a build-up to South Africa versus Australia. So it was the first match today. They are just showing a couple with the dismissals. Stuart Broad was able to get Mark Rim out. And you won't stream the cricket tomorrow, says Ahmad. So this is actually just today's night time that we have got. So then we get to, I'd say I'll be going to sleep at about, by the time me and George get back from our trip, I would say I'll get to sleep at about pretty much the time that the cricket starts. Ugh, that's not good. I've just realized how little sleep I'm going to get over the next 48 hours. Because if we end up getting back at 8 or so, no, we'll probably, yeah, maybe a bit earlier than 8. So I'll end up getting home at 8, then going to sleep hopefully until the start of the quarterfinals for the Sevens, which is actually 5:13 a.m. So I think more than likely we won't get the cricket in for day 4. But also there's a chance that cricket may not be going for day 4, depending on how we see South Africa bat for this one. Mate wants to hug my guy. Says Nathan and ugh. And this is Nathan in there as well. But yeah, so we've got an early morning start tomorrow. But like I mentioned, this game may not actually still be going by the time we get to tomorrow if Jack Leach can get a couple wickets here, which he hasn't quite been able to as of yet. And Stokes fields that one nicely. I've seen the talk of the town is actually Nick White at the moment in the rugby world. Has anyone seen all the information about his situation? Nicely played once again. Peterson doesn't look like he's going anywhere for now. He's up to 31. Did throw his wicket away in the first innings. Whereas him and Van der Dorsen, they can certainly bring up a strong partnership. And also, can you stream the last session today, says Ahmad? So the last session today overlaps with the Sevens that we have. Oh, that was close. So I believe, if I'm not wrong, this session here will end at 2:40. So it finishes at 2:40, and then the next session will start at 3, and the Sevens starts at 4:20. So it would mean that there is an overlap between the two, and not yet. And this is Nathan, and also, cheers, bud. I just tanked a half a bottle of bourbon, so I'm on my last legs. Here's David. I guess that's the thing. At least the bourbon's all right. Is it all right, bourbon, David? What type of bourbon have you got for yourself? Even though once you say the brand, I probably won't know. Is Jack Beam a bourbon? Or is Jack... Which one does the beef jerky? Is that Jack Lynx or Jack Bourbon or Jack someone? I've forgotten the last name now. Jack Hungry Jacks. I keep on thinking of, but that's a fast food restaurant. And I was like, hey, let's go. Says Nathan. 43 overs down currently, and South Africa still trailing by 160. Van der Dorsen sitting on 19 off 56 deliveries. Peterson sitting on 31 off 90 deliveries. And Jimmy Anderson, 1 for 25 off his 10. Charging him once again. I can hear a bit of a Jimmy Anderson chant going around the crowd. And that's a nice bit of swing. Once again, he's getting some good sharp bounce off the surface at Old Trafford, which we have actually got in our background today, rather than the Lord's ground like we did have for the last one. And also, it's the old Karuba 40 ounce. Now, I don't know exactly how much 40 ounces, but I think that is quite a large amount. If I'm not wrong, you probably shouldn't consume that all in one go. But by the sounds of it, you finished half of the bottle. So hopefully you aren't feeling too tipsy. So for the live predictor odds at the moment, I would have to say England is certainly up there. But it might give South Africa some credit. Okay, South Africa to win is 3%. A draw is 1%. England to win this test match is 96%. So unless something drastic changes, I see a pretty clear result going the way of England. They were able to have a massive batting innings, getting 415 for 9 declared. Oh, we got a spammer. Of course we do. We will go like that. There we go. Trailing still by that 160 runs. Van der Dorsen on strike. Anderson. That's the thing. The crowd have really turned up for all of these days so far, up to day 3. Now, the last test match, I believe I actually found out when I was having my tea with my family that other week, and we went out for dinner, I actually found out that my cousin and her boyfriend, who are currently in England. They are normally living in New Zealand. They were in England. They were booked in to go to the day 4 of the Ashes test match, or not the Ashes, sorry, but the day 4 of the Lord's test match, but that match only went 3 days, so they didn't get to see it. Now I mix it. Mate, I mix it with Coke. It's the Sri Lanka week. Says David there. That is one that rolls off the tongue. Nicely done. Van der Dawson. We're in a little bit of a chess match at the moment, and we need Scotty Razor. I know Fozzie there until the end of the Rugby World Cup 2023, unfortunately, but seriously, my guy, the Bledisloe Cup, we're leaving New Zealand shores in 19 years. Yeah, that's the last thing that the New Zealand public want to see at the moment, although it's a weird one because some people are saying we want to see New Zealand lose it so that they consider getting rid of Ian Foster again. Which it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's like, would you give up a cup that you've had for ages? And I think we're going to have some interesting picks in our predictions. Pitched up, delivering, nice shot from Van der Dawson, rocking onto the front foot. Does get it out through cover for the single. And hard between the wickets there was South Africa. Van der Dawson moves up now onto 21 off 61, and that's the last straw, though, says Nathan. Yeah, the last thing anyone wants is to lose that Bledisloe Cup. And I guess, the Rugby World Cup, it's almost only a year away, isn't it? It's getting closer and closer every single time that we have a day go by. We're actually almost at the end of the Rugby Championship. We're halfway through, which I know isn't really near the end, but it is getting closer and closer as we get nearer. And yeah, that true makes it more interesting between us two, says Nathan. And if it's anything like the rest of the series of the Rugby Championship, seems like we have a chance of seeing maybe a 1-1. Oh, bit of swing there for Jimmy Anderson outside of our stump. Once again, left alone by Rassie van der Dawson. And that will be the end of the 44th over. 106 for 3. And Peterson sitting on 31 now. And he will have the strike. I'm just having a look through at all of the other matches that are taking place around the world. I know that Man United were playing up against Southampton. It looks like they're going all right at the moment, sitting 1-0 up. Liverpool play in 47 minutes. It'll be interesting to see if they can fire back from that loss that they did have up against Man United. And there's actually a lot more sport coming up. The 7 starts in 3 hours and 7 minutes, ironically. Got to have the 7 in there somewhere. Also, pre-match. No, the Women's International, they have actually already played, haven't they? If I'm not wrong. Although my app does say that it's still pre-match in those ones, which is interesting because the NRL should have been finished by now, I would think. And go Man U, says David the Mod. And it's interesting, me and Dad at the moment on our FIFA career mode, we're trying to steal quite a few of the players from the big clubs. It's hard to do because we got no money. But we're hoping to get a couple of those big guys from Liverpool, Man United, etc. and try and strengthen up our side. Who is England playing after South Africa, says Ahmad. So their next series for England, we'll have a quick look. I believe they've got a shorter format series, though, before we head into the Cricket World Cup, which is taking place in September. So England, they have got South Africa in the 3rd test match. That is in 11 days' time. And then after that, they have got Australia in 44 days' time. And also, yeah, that's it, pretty much. So they've got Australia on the 8th or the 9th of October, in fact. And then not too long after that, I believe we actually head into the Cricket World Cup. Only about maybe a week and a half after that. So they've got a few T20s just to warm up the bats, try and get themselves fired up. Ben Stokes is disappointed that England haven't quite been able to find the wicket that they need here. Jack Leach. Once again, rocks onto the back foot for Keegan Peterson. So they're still ticking over at not too bad of a run rate here for South Africa, but they'd certainly like a few more runs before the end of this session. Maybe get it down to trailing by over or only around that 100 mark. Maybe 4 wickets down would be pretty handy as well. Jack Leach, he's been close, but he hasn't been close enough to pick up a wicket throughout this one. But that will be the end of the over, and it is 106 for 3. Ben Stokes just having a bit of a chat with Jack Leach, working out how can we get these 2 South African batsmen out. Once they get these 2, you'd have to say they start getting into the middle order. You've got Harmer will be coming up, Verena as well. And then you go down a bit further and you get to the likes of Rabada, who can bat, but he was very unlucky in his last innings. I believe he got a golden duck, or it might not have been him, in fact. One of the batsmen got a golden duck from Jimmy Anderson, the LBW. Right, Anderson going to be bowling again from the end. I'm listening to you and watching the match, says Ahmad there. Interesting. So have you not got the commentary playing at the match at the moment, Ahmad? Now, Van der Dussen. 2 slips still in play. Straight in behind the ball. I think the thing is, I have a feeling that this session is probably going to be one of the slowest run scoring rate that we will see for South Africa possibly. And also it will probably have the least amount of wickets. I think we're going to see a lot of batting here throughout this one. We haven't quite decided whether or not we're going to 2 a.m. or the end of the session at 2:40. But either way, I will still have to set up some thumbnails and also get those 7s live streams sorted out because we have got 10 of them coming up in the next 10 hours or 12 hours, in fact, it is. Nicely played by Van der Dussen. I'm watching on Sky Sports Cricket, says Ahmad. Now, Van der Dussen once again not looking in any trouble whatsoever. England still with a 96% chance of being able to win. What do you think of the AB's loss against Argentina? Do you think Foster will be sacked? He won't be sacked because New Zealand Rugby, they've already decided they don't want to pay him out. It's only if he resigns that they will actually get rid of him, I guess you could say. But yeah, it wasn't the best game for the All Blacks, but brilliant performance from Argentina. They had a lot of passion. Pablo Matera was loving the fact that he was able to win in New Zealand, not just for the first time, but also at the same ground as he played a majority of the Super Rugby Pacific season. Nice pitched up delivery from Anderson. Fielded at point by Johnny Bairstow. He had to run off to the boundary to try and stop one a little bit earlier on. That was before we started our live stream. I was chasing after that one. 45.3 overs down for South Africa. Still ticking along quite nicely. But they have lost the 3 wickets in that first session. If we can somewhat of the lead, will be brilliant, says Tom Rock. And yeah, it would certainly help out South Africans. They have got I believe it's a 3% chance of winning. It did have before, but I would like to think if these two can bat for another 100-run partnership, maybe those odds go up to about 20% chance. South Africa can get the job done, although it is becoming more and more like a road as we go throughout. There was a nice ball from Jimmy Anderson, just misses the outside edge. He's been very close, Jimmy Anderson, the 40-year-old veteran for England. He has played 100 test matches in England. Oh, you'd have to say it was almost too good for Van der Dussen to be able to get an edge on that one. He tried to watch it onto the bat, and it just ended up hanging a little bit further out than he expected. Anderson, he's got 1 wicket today. So he wouldn't be minding another one. I think Ben Stokes and Stuart Broad might not be too far off. Maybe Ollie Robinson also gets a bit of an opportunity. Oh, once again, Van der Dussen, he plays it extremely far out in front of him when it's on the offside. Could get him in quite a bit of trouble. And Argentina continue with their forms from last week. Showed up tonight, got the job done. And yeah, it's awesome to see that Argentina are so competitive this year, because normally from last year and I believe the year before, Argentina didn't receive a single point in the Rugby Championship after 3 rounds. They sit top of the bunch. And haven't you slept today, says Ryan? We have not. So I woke up at about 2 p.m. So we've been awake almost 12 hours and we've got another 16 hours that we are going to be awake, or actually a little bit longer. I believe it's actually another 18 hours. So we're going to have a 30-hour day with live streams and everything that we have got on. But yeah, we will be able to sleep after that. And it's crazy because Rassie wants to play it, but the ball is too good, says Tom Rock. Yeah, Anderson's getting it to do all sorts off the seam. And also swinging very nicely. You don't get the nickname Sultan of Swing without getting that ball to talk in times where others are unable to do so. But Stokes having a long involved conversation here with Jimmy Anderson. Now, we did see this after the last over down the other end with Stuart Broad. Not Stuart Broad, with Jack Leach. Peterson, 31 of 96 deliveries. Van der Dussen, 21 of 68. So Peterson just having some refreshments by the looks of it, keeping himself well set, well hydrated. Trying to work out what the crowd are chanting. I don't know if it is words, or it's not picking up as words anyway. I'm sure there are words being said. Jack Leach now bowling to Keegan Peterson. Now, you would think that he should be able to tempt him here. We saw it in the over before last, how he slightly skew-whiffed a little bit going towards Ollie Pope. Oh, French cut. That's a bit of an unorthodox shot from Keegan Peterson, but it's worked out to be the single for him. He gets off the mark, which probably isn't too bad of a thing. Now with Van der Dussen having to take the strike. I think Jack Leach, if you're going up against Van der Dussen, you want to go outside of off stump. And I don't know whether or not Jack Leach would consider this, but I would actually go, it would be over the wicket as the left armour. Over the wicket, get it right across Van der Dussen, get it in his eye line as it comes across him, and then have a couple men on that leg side, or sorry, not on the leg side, on the offside in close. Because he seems to be handling this angle not too badly. I think they need to switch it up a little bit for England, although I'm sure it is part of some sort of plan that they have got going for. But Van der Dussen, I'd love to see a little bit more width on that one from Jack Leach. See if you can lure him in. See, everything's straight at the moment. Van der Dussen, all he's got to do is just put the bat out, knock it down, and then wait for the next delivery. Jack Leach once again. Almost a little bit closer to the outside edge. Still a very straight line from Jack Leach. Currently sitting 13 runs off his 13.4 overs. So he probably, if South Africa bat long here, he could probably end up doing around that 30 over mark, maybe a little bit more, depending on how long. Yep, now they've got a man in close on that offside. I'm liking this field a little bit better. Give him a bit of width. See if he's willing to chase after it. They've got the man in deep, so they've actually got, well, they've got a field that can afford to have a wide man or kind of have it relatively outside of off stump. And we need to start playing baseball, says Tom Rock. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of gaps on that leg side if Jack Leach does stray his line away. And I think that's why Ben Stokes has done it, so that he thinks if it's too straight, that's a terrible ball from Jack Leach. He's going to be whipped away to the leg side, and it's 4 runs easy for Van der Dussen. That will be the end of the over, and it is 111 for 3. All right. Well, that tactic did not work for them. Would like to see, like I mentioned, just that little bit more width to Van der Dussen, because he does seem to like it on the leg side. Outside of off, he just throws the bat at it sometimes. So maybe that would help create some more opportunities. But Keegan Peterson, sorry, I almost called him Kevin Peterson. Of course, he would be more English, but with the South African roots. Keegan Peterson, very handy player. 57 runs brought up by these two individuals off 147 balls. So doing very nicely, getting them back into it. Ollie Robinson now, though, gets added into the bowling attack, and that is to replace Jimmy Anderson. Ollie Robinson just needs to find that length early. If he can get it in the right spot to pick up 1 wicket in the first innings. So far in the second, he has bowled 10 overs, going for 2.6 runs an over, but did get a wicket. And to be honest, with that extra little bit of height, he might be quite handy up against the South Africans here. Definitely because Keegan Peterson, he's not the tallest man in the world, and bringing Robinson is smart, especially for Rassie. And there says Tom Rock, yeah, he seems to be able to get that line and length just outside of off stump, which might lure in Van der Dussen making a mistake. I don't know how you get Keegan Peterson out. Keegan Peterson at the moment seems very well set. I think it's going to be more of a lapse of concentration from the batsman rather than that miracle ball. Oh, that one almost bounced back up for him, but he's been able to play that one off the back foot and cut it out. Stop any chance of it hitting onto the stumps. How tall is Keegan Peterson? I'm actually going to look this up, because I think the thing is, compared to some of these guys, he does look relatively short, but I think he'll still be a decent height. Keegan Peterson, he is, oh no, they don't really get heights of cricketers, do they? Or do they? I can't find it anyway. Height. It's not going to tell me his height. It's going to tell me how old he is, but it's not going to tell me how tall he is. His swing will challenge Rassie, says Tom. So yeah, he does need either Peterson to get a single or allow Van der Dussen to get on to strike. Oh, okay. I guess we don't. Yeah, how tall? Oh, actually, I'll just type in how tall is Keegan Peterson. He is 19 years old. Okay, he's 173 centimeters, so he's not actually that short overall compared to some of the players. Like, how tall is Jack Leach? I'm going to have a look at that. Nicely hit to the leg side from Peterson. Jack Leach is 5'10", I think they've got there, or 5'11". So yeah, not a huge amount of difference between them. Actually had his birthday in June for Jack Leach there. I wonder if Joe Root gets a bowl from the other end. So he's one of those bowlers who, even though he's part-time, seems to be able to get that line in the length straight away, which could cause some trouble. I wonder if Ollie Robinson could bowl any of those nice off-spinners that he has bowled in the past. I think we saw it during the Ashes, but that was only a very brief stint. Bit of a cutter there from Ollie Robinson, but it's been beautifully cut away by Keegan Peterson. This is going to be at least the 2 runs for South Africa. They just take 2 and 5-5 to 5-8, says Tom Rick in there. So, yeah, it has him down as 173 centimeters, so only about 6 centimeters shorter than myself. I think it's just because Ollie Robinson looks so big, and Rassie van der Doosen's quite a tall individual as well, isn't he? It's like when you're at the crease with Janssen. Like, anyone looks like they are very small compared to that. Man, he isn't actually playing in this game, instead replaced by Simon Harmer. Robinson charges in. Just watching that one onto the bat there for Keegan Peterson. And it got this huge Mama Huntsman spider moving in because it's cold outside. If I could send a screenshot bigger than my iPhone. Yeah, no, not keen on that one, Nathan. I feel like even when the spider's about this big, I'm like, oh no, that's a bit large. I enjoyed in Australia, though, where you get to see like random geckos and whatnot just chilling at a beach, freezing her butt off in there, says Nathan. But yeah, like, I like the wildlife of Australia to an extent. I'm keen on seeing some of it, but I ain't keen on having a snake, a crocodile, a spider, or pretty much anything else that's venomous anywhere near me when I'm over there. I enjoy Uber Eats and also a nice, cool hotel room. And yeah, they better not bench Marco Jansen next series, says Tom Rack. And yeah, we'll be interested to see who comes in for that 3rd test match for South Africa and also England, what changes we get to see. And hear it in the voice, says Nathan in there. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't mind spiders to an extent, but it's like, you know, when you're told that something's really dangerous, so don't go near it. I feel like we, throughout all of our school, even though we don't actually have any like dangerous spiders or anything in New Zealand to an extent, like they always said, you should never go by this and you should never go by that. And then when you go to the zoo and you see one, all the kids are freaking out because they've been told you're not supposed to go anywhere near those things. And yet there they are. Tell you what, eels are a bit dodgy, aren't they? It sounds like the start of some sort of comedy gig. But I remember we went to Willowbank in Christchurch. If you guys have heard of there, you've probably heard of Christchurch, of course. Maybe not Willowbank, though. And you could feed the eels. But the eels didn't realize that they were water creatures. So there was a feeding platform, and these gigantic eels, probably about that round, would just jump up and sit on the feeding platform with the kids sitting like, I don't know, 20 centimeters away from them. I don't think many of the year liked eels after that, and don't blame you. When I first came to Oz, my cousin played a prank on me. I ran fast, or I ran fast. Says Nathan, I developed about 4 different accents there in the process, didn't I? I ran fast. That's what I was trying to say. Once again, straight line from Jack Leach. Not too much troubling here of Keegan Peterson. He's getting a bit of encouragement from behind the stumps from Ben Folks. What's his first name? Is his name also Ben? No. What's Folks' first name? Oh, I can't remember it now. Something Folks. Ben Stokes is next to him, which I think is confusing me. Someone Folks. Oh, Folks is good work behind the gloves there, or behind the stumps. And we have too many Jacks here. Jack Daniel, Jack Leach, and Jack in terms of spiders in New Zealand, says Bianca. Yeah. And then Is Jack Link's the beef jerky? Is that the one that I'm thinking of from earlier on? Jack Daniels is the alcohol. Jack Leach is that man on the screen at the moment who wears glasses and gets Specsavers sponsorships. Why can't I think of Folks' first name? Is it Ben? It wouldn't be Ben, I wouldn't think. But he kind of looks like a Ben. Folks. Stokes. Bokes. No, not Bokes. Because I know it's Chris Wokes and Jumping Jack Spider. And there's says Nathan Rassi van der Dussen. And Keegan Peterson once again get through another over, sitting 148 behind now for the trailing runs. And Leach is finished another over. Robinson back into the bowling attack now from the other end to get one over previously. Didn't look too on the money. Well, that one looked a little bit too short. And now he gets the face off with Rassi van der Dussen, and that could be a whole different story here if he does manage to get it right. So, van der Dussen halfway to his half century. So a quarter of the way to the century there. He's got the SS bat. Ollie Robinson wants to get himself the wicket. I think the momentum's starting to go a little bit in South Africa's favour if they don't get the wicket relatively soon. Maybe not to the extent that England are sitting in the box seat currently. It's not going to change till probably another 200 or so runs on the board here for South Africa. Trailing by 148, 116 runs on the board, but these two bringing up a 60-run partnership by trail by 148 on a roll here, says Nathan. Yeah, they haven't lost any wickets. The thing is, I watched the first session, or a majority of the first session, and I saw 3 wickets fall, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do the next session, and I expect to see maybe 2 or 3 as well. And then we've had 30 minutes, nothing. Just a few runs on the board, which is very handy for them because I think they trailed by about 160 something when I first came in. But we have got the 7s later on. Like I mentioned, first match, South Africa taking on the USA. That's going to be a good game. And that will be at 4:20 a.m. New Zealand time. Oh, almost chopping on there for van der Dussen. He wanted to take the single. There wasn't one there, though. And he is sent back by Keegan Peterson. So I guess question, ladies and gentlemen, if there is a wicket, which over do you think it will be in? My guess is the 55th over I'm going to go with. So we've still got a few more overs till we see one of these men dismissed. But if I had to pick who it's going to be, I think it's Rassi van der Dussen at a guess. In the 55th, we'll go with the sun is out in England. It's a beautiful day at the moment. Oh, a bit of swing there. And a little bit of a noise there. And bro, go to bed. It's okay to miss one game, says Tom Rack. Although we have actually got a lot of 7s coming up. So that will actually be the ones that we do concentrate on throughout the rest of the day. We probably won't do the last session of the cricket. We will either be doing just the hour or the hour 40 of it as well. But I'm actually not too tired, believe it or not. Yes, I yawn occasionally, but that is mainly because I have these lovely bright lights in there as well. But I don't think we're going to get any of day 4 of this match in. But the question is, will it go to day 4? I think is the big one there. Ooh, swing. For that one, I'm going to go with 60-plus overs, says Nathan. And Aidan Markram is currently a liability for South Africa Test batting lineup, says G2 Geeks. He seems to go out very easily, unfortunately, and he has done that in both of the innings for this matchup. Because Keegan Peterson, his dismissal in the first innings was a bit soft, but from there, in this innings, he has looked a lot sharper. He's picked the ball a lot better. Van der Dussen still sitting on that. Oh, that's not looking too flash in the background there. Whereabouts is Old Trafford again? It's not in London, it's in Manchester, isn't it? I'm going to quickly check what the weather report's saying because in the background it looks a little bit rainy, but also the sun is out, so it's hard to tell with English weather. That's a beautiful shot from Rassi van der Dussen, and that will go all the way to the boundary for 4 with the leg side pull. Right, we will go here, and we will go Manchester. Of course, Manchester quite big, so it could change. 23 degrees, partially cloudy, and it's supposed to be beautiful all of today. And actually only supposed to get rainy next Friday for Manchester. So they're going to have some dry weather once again. We probably need a bit of dry weather here in New Zealand. Currently very wet. Wouldn't mind a bit of sunshine every once in a while. Robertson bowls it outside of off stump, just left alone by Van der Dussen again. That will be the end of the 50th over as well, I should have mentioned. So, at the moment, I would say 55 overs I went, didn't I? So about 30 balls away from a wicket, if I am correct with my prediction. Probably won't be. I don't think I was last time. We need Gareth, because Gareth managed to absolutely bang it spot on in the last test match that we did ask for the prediction. He said that it would be Markram being dismissed, and he said the exact over that he was dismissed in. But Robertson now, slower ball. Trying to mix it up a little bit. It's interesting with Van der Dussen, though, because he looks like he's constantly close to getting an outside edge, but he just doesn't seem to. Right, I think the scoreboard was a bit confused. I think it's now the end of the over. Yes, it is. Okay, they weren't too sure how many balls had been bowled in that over. It could have been a 7-ball over, but they did go with a 6 in the end. Right, bowlers unite here. We have got Jimmy Anderson, Ben Stokes, Ollie Robinson, and Stuart Broad all in a huddle. So the question is, what is the plan from here for the English? How do they get the wickets? Ben Stokes, I think he was talking about the fact that they're reaching out a little bit, but they just can't quite get him. And it would be great to see the back of Keegan Peterson and also Van der Dussen, if you are an English cricket supporter, of course, making the series more than likely 1-1. That is the way that it does end up going. And also, when do you think the match will finish? I think it's probably going to be session 1 or 2 tomorrow. I think South Africa will get through today. If they don't get through today, I mean, it would be a bit unfortunate to have 2 test matches only go to day 3, but I think South Africa get through today. So they've got the new ball in 30 overs now that I think about it as well, which will be a little bit of a slightly trickier one, but I think they get through today, and then day 4, session 1 or 2 might be when we see the end of this test match. I can't really see it going to day 5 as of yet, unless, of course, these two stick around for another 50 overs or so combined and just continue to get those extra runs. Left alone outside of off stump, Jack Leach. That's a better line, but that is the line I wanted to see to Van der Dussen, not to Keegan Peterson. 50.2 overs down. So England, they've been bowling relatively effectively in terms of that run rate, going at about 2.5 maybe. Right, we're going to get a zoom in of the pitch to see whether or not there's any puffer dust. Not really. It's still a very nice pitch. We're only at day 3 and only halfway through day 3 as well, I should mention. I've got the man in close on the offside. That was a better ball by Jack Leach. Almost lured in Peterson to try and play it to the leg side. Ben Stokes. This is probably one of the bigger tests for him in terms of his captaincy style, because the first match, they didn't go too well from start to finish. This match, they've been a lot more strong, but they need to find a way of getting these 2 batsmen. Short ball shot from Keegan Peterson. A little bit of a misfield there from Jimmy Anderson, but he is unable to get it through the gap there. And Peterson will still have the strike. 1 more ball left of this over of Jack Leach. I don't think we're too far off seeing seam from both ends. Maybe Stuart Broad gets added back in. Although that ball looked dangerous from Jack Leach, that might almost be enough to get him another over. Short moment, 122 for 3. A good over from Jack Leach. Van der Dussen, though, still looking as focused as ever. Just needs to make sure that he isn't lured in to play the wrong ball. And same can be said about Keegan Peterson, but they have been batting together at the moment. In the time that we've been watching, they have been batting for 40 minutes together, which is actually longer than a majority of the partnerships we saw in the first test match when we were covering for either side, really. It was quite impressive how quickly the wickets were falling. Ben Stokes got the ball in his hand at the moment. Who's he giving it to? I think Ollie Robinson's still getting another over from this end. And also, which 2 seamers do you think will bowl? I think they'll go Robinson from one end and Stuart Broad from the other. And then they may consider, I'd like to see a combination of Ben Stokes and Jimmy Anderson, but that might be a little way off just because I don't think they'll have both of them. Stokes might be good to bowl, but I think Anderson's only just finished his spell. But I think Ben Stokes is the type of bowler here who will step up and just completely throw everything into it. Him and Ollie Robinson, I see Stuart Broad doing those waving the arms in the background, so he might be getting close to warming up. Maybe Joe Root from one of the ends, just to see whether or not right arm spin works better than the left arm up against these two batsmen. And also when you're facing a part-time spinner, sometimes that means the batsmen go after you a bit more, which can then lead to a wicket-taking opportunity. Nicely played. That one popped off the surface once again from Ollie Robinson. Soft hands from Van der Dussen. Does mean he is able to control it. Ben Stokes looks like he's slowly getting impatient. Kind of getting a little bit fidgety here. Ben Stokes waiting for that wicket to fall. Definitely because they are currently in the box seat. All they need is 1 or 2 wickets in this session. And they've got an hour left to do so. He is also warming up his arms. So we might actually see the combination of Stokes and Broad in a short moment. Robinson might just be a little bit of a fill-in bowler for a few overs here. Nicely bowled once again. And they are going to be able to take the single to the leg side. Stuart Broad does field it. I think Van der Dussen's style just makes it look very awkward. He always takes one hand off the bat, which seems like it's one of those tactics that you would think would lead to him losing his wicket, but he's able to control it in a manner that does have it pretty much completely fine for him as long as he has got his head and his bat in the right spot at the time of impact. But Verena, I believe he is next out to the crease. Then they will go with, I believe it will be Simon Harmer. Robinson. Short ball. Peterson jumps onto it though and has been able to hit it away deep to deep mid-wicket here. Just gets the single off it. Trailing by 140. So nice work from South Africa being able to rebuild here with these two individuals. Seem to be on the same page currently. Ollie Robinson's looking like just wants to get a wicket. He's looking frustrated as well. I think England know that this game, the sooner they can get it over with, the more rest that they've got heading into the third and final where it will be 1-1, they are able to get themselves the victory for this contest. Van der Dussen gets the short ball. He just ducks under it, doesn't try and take it on like Peterson did the ball prior. 1 ball left of this Robinson over. Van der Dussen, all he's got to do, make sure, it's a no ball. 2 balls left of this Robinson over. And who do you think South Africa is going to drop next test? Says Tom Rack. Or, Markram, like someone mentioned earlier on, he hasn't really exactly fired in this tour. I would love to see... I would have thought when you were adding the extra spinner in for South Africa that maybe they would have gone, another short ball from Robinson. Got that one right. Yeah, it was an interesting choice taking Janssen out. Definitely if there was no injury involved, because his extra height on a surface like this, it stayed hard throughout the first 3 days. He could be very handy with the way that ball skids on. Robinson. Did he do 2 no balls in a row, or was that just the same ball as before? Might have been the same ball. And aren't you feeling tired, says G2 Geeks? I'm actually doing not too bad, believe it or not. Bit of swing there for Robinson, left alone outside of off stump, and that will be the end of the over. 125 for 3. But because I woke up at 2 p.m. New Zealand time rather than any earlier, I think that has helped me out. Although I did go to bed at about 6:30 a.m. New Zealand time the night before. So I got about 7.5 hours of sleep. Then we have got a 32 or 30 hour day of being awake. And then afterwards, I will be going back to sleep for about maybe 5 hours. And then we are back into the 7s for the quarterfinals. That still looks very cloudy and almost dark and dingy in the background. I don't want it to rain. So I feel like that would be the worst thing to happen for this test match. Everyone wants to see this one go to a result. And Old Trafford needs to make sure that it keeps the weather looking nice for everyone in attendance as well. I didn't see too many umbrellas brought in a bit of partnership building for South Africa, makes the test slightly more interesting. Says Sebastian, how much does this pay? If I may ask, it does not pay anywhere near as much as you think that it would. I always say pretty much any money that we make off the channel goes straight back into the live streaming software, our Spark Sports subscription, our Sky Sports subscription. And then other than that, you kind of just have enough to occasionally get something like a green screen or a microphone or something along those lines. But I always say it, like the money from the get-go was not something that we were looking at. It was more we wanted to be able to do it because it was a very exciting venture, I guess you could say. And even as an England fan, I'm not looking for a blowout, says Sebastian. Although, Sebastian, if it's a blowout, we can mention that on our video. I did send you a Discord message at some stage. I can't even remember what hour it was that I said that. But yeah, we will have to have a chat at some stage. I was going to ask whether or not it was going to be both of our voices and also both of our cameras, or just like our voices and my camera, or what the go was going to be for that one as well. Right. Keegan Peterson chugging some, I think that was coconut water. I'm trying to work out what color it is, though. It might not be coconut water. It might be coconut water with a side of raspberry. No, it might just be coconut water. And do you watch football/soccer? I do indeed. We did actually do a live stream on the Kiwi Lad Sport with Man United. They were going head-to-head up against Liverpool, but we are hoping to do a little bit more of the Premier League in the future over on the Kiwi Lad Sport. So be sure to check that out as well. And come on, England, says Ahmad. I don't mind appearing on camera. I'm not a looker, though, says Sebastian. You can join the club, mate. I mean, people, they always say they love someone with an accent. And if you've got almost a half English, half Romanian accent, I'm sure the ladies will be all over you. And is it a drinks break, says Ahmad? It is indeed. We have an hour of this session, and there is still an hour more to go. But yeah, are we doing a test match, Sebastian, or is it I guess, a short format one? Do let me know. I'd assume a test, though, maybe, possibly. And as an average length for this innings, currently after lunch, he's been a bit more full. Before lunch, he was a bit more short. I forgot how to say short for a second there. Everyone's chugging some drinks. Overton's got the bananas, saying, who wants one? Get your potassium in, boys. I think there's only about one man who took on his banana. I think that was Robinson. Robinson was willing to have one of the bunch. I think Bairstow might have had a bunch, or at least one. Oh, the bananas. They're looking a bit green, though. How does growing bananas go in England? Can you actually grow them there, or do you need them imported? I'd assume they need to be imported, although the beautiful weather that they've had over the last little while, there'll be a few banana trees popping up, maybe. That's probably not a fact, by the way. At the moment, Kumar Sangakkara and also Ian Ward, it's the commentators. If we opt for the test, it might have to be spread out over multiple videos, says Sebastian. Yeah, so what we could do possibly for that style is kind of do it as each day of the actual test match, we have our video coming out either the day prior or earlier in the day type thing, and then have it as a continuous, like this is what's happening in ours and this is what's happening in the real thing, if you can. And have you ever watched NFL? Only very briefly. I try and get into the Super Bowl and then I get not bored, but I just end up getting confused. So then I end up going, right, well, I might watch a game of rugby instead because it's a bit shorter and I kind of know what's going on. I like the tactical side of NFL, though, how it's all based off strategy, tactics of who's going where, making sure everyone knows their plays. But yeah, I'm not the best at it and sounds good, says Sebastian. Jewett Broad coming back into the bowling attack. He's bowled 6 overs. He's gone for 1 for 16. Right, I did say the 55th over would be when we see the wicket falling. Sebastian, do give your prediction. What over are we going to see the English get their next wicket of the South Africans? Peterson sitting on 37, of 116 when England bring Craig Overton in for Jack Leach. Or will they? I don't know. I think they'll still have a spinner just in case. I would love to see, who's the other spinner that they've got in their squad at the moment? They got Dom Best. They might not have Dom Best there, but who's that young leg spinner whose name I've already forgotten, unfortunately? Howdy says, far welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Currently, England, they've had a bit of a stale patch. They need that wicket to break through. But it does seem for now that South Africa starting to slowly build themselves back into this contest. They were only 3% likely to win South Africa. Now I believe they're up to about 7%. Isn't too bad. I love a sneeze. Matt Parkinson, he is the one. Is he in the squad with them at the moment, Mart? And hopefully as quickly as possible, maybe 55th over. There's Sebastian. Okay, same as myself. Who's the batsman who goes? This will be the tester to see whether or not we're on the exact same wavelength. And also, what ball do you think it is going to be? I'm going to hold up how many fingers I think it is for what ball of the over, just so that I can't change it. So that we'll see whether or not we're actually telepathy. You know? Peterson, 37 balls. That's a lie. 37 runs he's sitting on. He's getting closer and closer to his half century. And also Peterson says Ahmad there. He's currently looking pretty well set, though. Over the 100 balls faced. Looks like some gloves. Rassie van der Dusen's the dodgy digit, as they've said. And also, it will be a red ball, says Far. A little bit of pain. Rassie, because of his finger injury, going to nick one off Robinson. Okay. And what ball are the over, Sebastian? You've got 2 from 2 so far with my similarities. That was a big swing by Peterson. I don't believe he connected with it, though, and I don't believe England will be willing to go upstairs. Yeah, if you actually manage to get what I've got on my fingers correct, I can't actually see where my hand is. What arm am I moving? Okay, it's that one. I couldn't work out what it was, but in fact, I'm going to put my one there. There we go. I've put it ready to send. And once you tell me what ball it is, I will show you whether or not we are sticking to the exact same. Stuart Broad, 4th. Oh, okay. See, I had the 3rd. That's a short ball. It's gone up in the air, but it's actually very well controlled. It didn't really go up for too long at all from Keegan Peterson. Okay, so the 4th ball and the 3rd ball of the 55th, and we both think it's going to be Rassie van der Dusen who is dismissed. We're getting closer, only a couple overs away now. Jimmy Anderson, he kind of looks half asleep. Is he looking into the sun? Oh, no, he's waiting for the ball. He didn't look very interested there, Jimmy Anderson. I think England want wickets. They aren't falling the way that they thought they would be for the second session, because after that first one, you would have said that if they were about 6 down by now, it could have been almost all over by the end of the day. But South Africa putting up that fight, 139 runs they trail by. Nice shot from Van der Dusen. Once again, we're quickly going to go like this and like this. There we go. I'm curious to know whether or not my grocery parcel will arrive during a live stream or in between a live stream later on today, because it is supposed to be delivered between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., which normally works out to be around that 11 a.m. mark. And we've got a few live streams going up. I know that this is a random tangent that I'm going on, but I think it's going to be an exciting time to see whether or not it's going to be in a gap or whether it's going to be during one of the matches. It does arrive. Stuart Broad's not looking too happy at the moment, with Rassie van der Dusen being able to get himself a run off his bowling. Right, Ben Stokes back in the bowling attack. So that will mean, I believe, Stuart Broad is our bowler. I think. Or is it Ben Stokes? I don't really know which one it is. I had a terrible dream. And there says Far, was it that South Africa and New Zealand both lost? So if it was, that was not a dream, sadly. And who will bowl now? They have gone Ben Stokes. So yeah, that combination of Stokes and Stuart Broad. We did manage to get that one right. Van der Dusen sitting 31 off 88. 12 balls short of the century of balls faced. 19 runs short of the half century. Stokes, I feel like he's going to dig in here. And by the looks of it, the way the field's set, he's going to be pitching it relatively short. And yeah, we'll see whether or not it does pay off. They want to get Van der Dusen relatively quickly here. I would think with the bowling change, just so you can expose the Nets batsman, which I believe will be Kyle Verena, short ball from Stokes, goes straight over the helmet. Rassie van der Dussen trusts the bounce, something that is very tough to do as a batsman. When you've been on a surface that can have a bit of variable, and just to sit there and wait for the ball to bounce over your head can be quite terrifying. 137 runs. The South Africans trail by, but van der Dussen and Peterson, this is currently a brilliant partnership. I believe it's up to about 65 runs off about 170 balls. I think someone just fell over in the commentary box, or someone knocked over a stack of something, because there was quite a bit of noise. Okay. So they have just said that a monitor fell down, and also a bit of crashing earlier on was because one of the commentators fell off his chair. And dream that we lost to Argentina yesterday. Had to drink myself to sleep, says Far. And do you follow volleyball? Not a huge amount of volleyball, but I would love to be able to get into it in the future. Nice shot from van der Dussen, keeping it down, who is in the slip. I believe they've just got Joe Root, and he is slipping at about fourth or so slip. I think they've got him. He isn't actually at first. He's a bit further out, almost halfway in between first slip and gully for that positioning. Peterson, 38 of 121. He'll get a few short balls, I would think, from Ben Stokes just to test him out, but he seems to be relatively strong when it comes to playing that pull shot. And the thing is, when you are 5'8", you get used to having to play that, and don't destroy it. Lankshire's commentary box, you clumsy bastards. Oh, Sebastian, is the county cricket still going on currently, even though this match for England? Surely it... Don't answer that. I've just realised how stupid I just sounded. Never mind. Probably is, isn't it? Currently 136 runs difference. Will you go to France next year to watch the World Cup? Probably not France, but I would love to be able to maybe go to Australia in 2027 to be able to watch it. But yeah, I think France-wise, for the financial aspect, I don't think I would be able to afford to head off to France for a good few weeks, because I want to go for the whole competition. You wouldn't want to just go for the pool stage or anything along those lines. It can be relatively costly overall. Okay, they're talking about Ben Stokes. Oh, yeah, no, he drives straight into the crease. That has got to be hard on the body eventually. Just plants it, doesn't he? He's actually gone through quite a few shoes in his time, Ben Stokes, because he breaks his toes straight through the middle of them. It's going to be the end of his over. 54 overs down, and now it is 128 for 3. So this is our over, isn't it? And how's the KFC fund coming along? It hasn't actually changed since the last live stream. Whereabouts is it? I know that it's somewhere in here. Where did I put it? I think it is currently... There it is. That's what it's sitting on at the moment, $52.99. So that will get us some nice KFC. And I think that is what me and George are doing tomorrow night, which is why I won't be sleeping for quite some time. What about Coley? Form say, please, says RT captain. But Coley, he's been an interesting one. He's been up and down, hasn't he, in the last little while. But I'm looking forward to seeing him play for India once again. Is he playing in that T20 matchup against Pakistan, or is he missing from that one? Do let me know. T20 Blast was won by Hampshire. Royal London Day 1 Cup and County Championship still being contested, says Sebastian. So the first ball, at least van der Dussen's on strike, so that's a good start. Sebastian, we're going to get this right. It's going to be 1.5 or 3.5 balls. It's going to be a run out or something. Stumping at the non-striker scene. Imagine the scenes of that. Not be going too well. They'll be hated more than Nick White is at the moment. Van der Dussen facing off with Stuart Broad. It's quite a fun name to add a tongue roll to. These two, they've got 70 runs combined. They've turned this innings around for South Africa. I feel like I've got a big smile on my face because this is the over that we said we were going to see the action. Nicely played in behind it. Right, this is my ball, Sebastian. Then the next one after that's yours. And Aussie House distracted holding up. Wasn't too happy last I saw it. I love that first little section of our interview. How I was like, hopefully there's not too much swearing. And then the first sentence is, what the was that? He's probably tending to his Argentinian hostage. Yeah, he was brave to say that he was going to go up to some random All Blacks supporters and see what they were feeling about the game. Right, this is my ball. Oh, okay, Sebastian, you might be right. It wasn't my one. Just a solid block. You actually got more specific as well, didn't you? You said it was going to be an edge. Even if it's not, I think I'll be very impressed. Indeed, might send you some chocolate-coated crickets. Or maybe not. Sebastian. I feel like you must always get concerned when I start a sentence like that. They're trying to fix the monitors at the moment. But do you have Uber Eats in your region of Romania? Sebastian! No, they're not giving it. Okay, Broad wanted it. He said it was out. I think they're going to go upstairs. They've got 2 reviews remaining. Like they're saying, it's a review for sure. Come on, you got 5 seconds. Do it, Stokesy. Do it, Stokesy. Make the T. Make the T shape. It's a T shape. Oh, they didn't do it. That's a shame. And like they're saying, there was a lot that looked close when it came to that one, unless it was going too far down leg. Oh. They're saying it's looking very adjacent. Did he? Ah, he got an inside edge. That's a shame. Stuart Broad. I don't think he had that. That was what Stuart Broad said, but of course he'd say that when he thought it was plum. And that was exciting, says Far. And so close. I do have Uber Eats, but I don't use it, says Sebastian. So if that was good, I was going to get you a gift card for Uber Eats because it would be a lot cheaper than sending chocolate-covered crickets over there. Because I think shipping's like $35 for a $10 box of crickets. So I would have been better off me sending you money. Well, like the gift card for Uber Eats. I need to get in contact with Uber Eats. Not literally, because they'll probably never reply, but it would be nice. And will England review? Nah. Inside edge they have gone with. In the end there, right, Rassi van der Dussen. We could still be right if that one missed the bat, but it didn't. And that will be the end of Stuart Broad's over. 128 for 3 now. So what we will be doing, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going for the next 38 minutes of this session. Then after that, we will be going into our Sevens live stream. So the plan for that will be to get them all set up. Okay, Robinson was saying he hit it. I blame Pat Cummins and Quizzle. And sorry to stray off topic, but what is with the Nick White story? So pretty much Nick White, he did have the ball and then Faf de Klerk, he did clip him on the chin. But then what Nick White did next, I think, is what turned people against him, was because he took a couple steps back and then went, ow, on my face, and then sat on the ground and waited for the referee to blow a penalty, which in that time, he got forced back into the in-goal area. But people were saying that Faf de Klerk, if he got a yellow card, then maybe it should have also been a yellow card for Nick White for the way that he did milk it. Short ball, nicely done by Ben Stokes and postman Pat. Says Far. Gotta love the postal service. Oh, yeah, that's one thing that some people probably don't think about too much. I know I don't, but like I order stuff. 2 days later, it shows up. And it's like, this is actually bloody incredible. You know, I've purchased something for an upcoming video. It is actually our 4th episode of the series of me doing random kicking challenges. Short ball from Ben Stokes once again. But yeah, it's something that I ordered, and I ordered it on Saturday. Today's Saturday. So Saturday morning, because I wanted it to get shipped on Monday, and it says, yep, we'll ship it on Monday. It will be there on Tuesday. So that will be probably when I do it. Oh, Nick lies, he cheats, he steals, like the late, great Eddie says that Sebastian as well. What was I watching the other day? I was watching John Cena before the PG era, and boy, that man had a few interesting insults, to say the least. Pull shot, nicely done once again by Peterson. He has great control over the way that he plays that. And pretty poor from Nick White, says Far. Yeah. The thing is, I said on the live stream as well, if he hadn't gone down like he did, continue to play, and then the next time there's a stoppage, went ref, I think there was something there, can you have a look at it? Or send James Slipper over? That would have been something that a lot of people went, oh yeah, okay, at least this way it's the TMO's decision of whether or not it is. But just to get hit and to sit down pretty much and go, oh, after you realize that you've been hit, I think a lot of people were very annoyed. Oh, no, didn't Gary. We'll settle down. Ollie Pope not quite able to get that. Doctor of Thugonomics was way better than his current persona, says Sebastian. Yeah, and aren't WWE going back to TV 14 or something like that? Aren't they going back to slightly riskier material? I'm looking forward to the UFC. To be fair, that next week, that wasn't quite a sentence, but we are hopefully going to be covering that on the channel as well, because there is no sevens. Oh, nice shot. And also stop the chit-chatting stuff and concentrate on commentating on the game, please. I'm sure if you just want game commentary, there are about 50 other live streams on YouTube that you could go to, as we have currently. I mean, this is about our 8th hour of live streaming, so we're probably going to get distracted relatively easily at this point in time. I think Fuff was going for the pill anyway, says Far. And yeah, he did have a decent crack at it. Didn't quite get it. Mr. White is a disgrace to the sport, says Francois. Ben Stokes currently 5 balls in this over 3 runs he has gone for at this point in time. Nicely done. And that is going to be the end of the 56th over, 130 for 3. South Africa still building quite nicely. Wouldn't mind a bikini match involving Nikita Lyons. Isn't she injured at the moment, if I'm not wrong there? Might be injured. Quite a few injuries sneaking in all sports at the moment. New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, all these sides do have quite a few creeping in. South Africa are 134 runs behind this current point in time. Jimmy Anderson getting 1 wicket, Stuart Broad getting another, and then the other wicket was Ollie Robinson. Was able to get it a bit earlier on, but Broad and Anderson both getting the 3 wickets in that first innings. Rabada getting 36. That was actually the highest score that we saw for South Africa, so they are trying to really rebuild here in the second innings. Currently, the man with the trumpet is absolutely having a right go at this point in time. I think he's playing the Stuart Broad song. Nicely hit to the leg side from Van der Dussen and doesn't quite get it through that gap once again. He's faced 100 balls, which is something we didn't really see too much of from South Africa in the first innings. And also we have got there who got the runs for England, or England, says Far. So Ben Stokes got a century. I believe Folks also was able to get the century. And I'm just going to quickly check to see if anyone else got the half centuries. And Nick didn't bug Fuff after that, says Bianca. And Stokes and Folks centuries. Is there any half centuries alongside those two big innings? I'm going to have a quick look, see what I can find. This is actually a very good session for South Africa. I don't know whether or not we are a slightly lucky charm for them that they haven't gone too terrible. It's a good ball. It was on the money there. So we also saw on the scorecard, we saw 38 from Crawley, 49 from Bairstow. Unlucky there to miss out. I forgot how close he was to his half century. But yeah, everyone else was less. And also Bairstow out for 49. And also Far has got the thumbs up. Stuart Broad reaching out for that one, Van der Dussen. Just have to stretch those arms a little bit more. Peterson slowly working his way towards the half century. We've got another 32 minutes of this session, more than likely. If he keeps going at this rate, I don't think Peterson will quite get there, but he will be relatively close for that next session and give George, or did George give Bianca his bank details? He didn't at this point of time that I know of. Anyway, not that he has told me about anyway. But it could happen. Ben Stokes wants a bit of a reshuffle in the field, I think. Stuart Broad says, nah, we're good. Happy enough with the way it is set. Because the next change in the bowling attack will be crucial for them. And who will England put on after tea? I think they are going to probably go back to Jimmy Anderson. He might even get a crack before tea. And then I'd like to see Joe Root just whip a couple down, change up the momentum for England and just change the rhythm that they currently found themselves in. Stuart Broad, though, that one didn't stay very high. Or didn't bounce very high, I should say. Van der Dussen sitting on 33 off 102. 39 off 128 for Peterson. And Jimmy will get a spell after team, most definitely, says Sebastian there. So Stokes, he'll probably bowl for another 3 or 4 overs if he has to. If not, maybe more, just to keep on going and going till he either picks up the wicket or his toes bust through the front of his shoes again. And then maybe Robinson had a relatively short spell, didn't he? Only about 2 or 3 overs for him. So they may even go Jack Leach. Straight broad down the leg side, and that's a loosener. It's going to be fielded nicely. Yep, very nicely done by Jack Leach. Down at fine leg. Folks fields it behind the stumps. I feel like Jack Leach has got a very unique run that you can tell him no matter where he is on the field. As soon as you see that run, you're like, oh, yeah, it's Jack. And he's got the glasses to match at the moment. Does he still have his Specsavers deal? I'd like to think that he would. Of course, that came from Headingley in the Ashes 2019. Ben Stokes just resetting the field a little bit. Come on, Broady, get him out, is what we've just heard from some man who's on his 15th beer in the stand. He's very loud wherever he is. Oh, and Stuart Broad almost listened to him. No, he didn't. Oh, well, that wasn't the idea in the first place. I wanted to make him laugh, says Bianca. It's actually, what type of bat is that? A denim bat. I haven't actually seen that type of bat that Keegan Peterson is using. Rassi van der Dussen. So at the crease, we're up to 57 overs now. I'd say we'll probably get through another, they got 30 minutes, so they'll probably get through another maybe 7 or 8. They're not going too bad for the time aspect. But yeah, I would like to see Joe Root added into the bowling at some point in time. Still to bat, they've got Verena, Maharaj, Harmer, Rabada, Nokia, and Ngidi. And wait, I didn't see that. Did George hit on Bianca? He did a little while ago on a live stream that me and him were both on. That's a short ball, and it's missed everyone. Once again, it's been able to have it hit along the ground. But yeah, him and George, not him and George. George and Bianca, they were having a bit of a back and forth old bloody chemistry building exercise. That was on one of the late night ones, wasn't it? Or early morning, was it? Wallabies versus Pumas, I think it might have been. Peterson sitting on 39. He's looking up to the heavens, seeing whether or not it is looking like it's going to rain. It's Manchester, so the answer is probably. It should be relatively nice throughout the rest of the day, hopefully. Stokes coming in to bowl. Short ball once again, well handled by Keegan Peterson. Seems like he's got all the time in the world to play that one. Stokes looking frustrated. The captaincy of the English side. It's not exactly an easy gig, as we've learnt from the past few years, but it's getting a lot better now. Brendan McCullum's been able to turn it around a bit. Jack Leach, he's currently smiling with Patel. They look like they're best friends, Patel and Leach. Short ball from Stokes once again, ducked under by Keegan Peterson. A little bit of a chess match once again going on between the English quicks. I wonder what's in that drink. Because I'd assume it would be some sort of like electrolytes type thing. You wouldn't think it would be an energy drink for them, but could be. It's just a plain can. I don't know whether or not they've taken the lid off or like the wrapping off. And I can vouch for him. Bianca, hardworking man, loves entertainment, well-spoken, never swears, and always keeps his tractor clean. I think he ticks off a few of those. I don't know about keeping his tractor clean and never swears, but he's got the other ones, I think. Although, to be fair, he does enjoy buying a water blaster on Farming Simulator, like no matter what. Even if we're not working, he'll just get a water blaster. That's his first thing so that he can spray everything, including me. It's a nice shot from Peterson. Goes out to Broad, who is fielding at point. I don't think Ben Stokes is too happy with it at the moment. I think he's having a bit of a chat with the umpire. Maybe the umpire said you were quite close to that front line. Once again, 132 they trail by. This is actually probably the best session we've seen from South Africa. And it's one of the only sessions we have done of their batting after day one. which is quite an interesting one because they lost about 6 or 7 wickets, I think, in that first session that we covered. Well, or at least 3 or 4 anyway. Nicely played by Keegan Peterson, once again, keeping it down. I see that the 100, I have just got the notification that there's a game at Lords that's going to be starting at 2:30 a.m. between the London Spirit women's side and the OV is where it cuts off. So I'm not too sure of the rest of that name for that one. Peterson, though, it's a race between him and Van der Dussen to get to their half century. And it's a race for the English backs, well, not the English backs, sorry, the English bowlers to try and stop that from being a reality for either man. Left alone outside of Ostan, but did he love Bianca? He was having big fun, good fun, was our George. He mentions it every once in a while as well. Van der Dussen sitting 35 of 105. And it is the end of the 58th over, 132. Right, the fourth ball of this over is going to be a wicket. If it's not, I don't really have anything, do I? If it's not, we'll do one singular quiz. He's a sweetie, but I just love sport, says Bianca there. The stone roses on the shirt. But yeah, if it's not a wicket, in fact, I shouldn't have it that it's that specific. If it's not a wicket in this over being bowled by Stuart Broad, then we will do one quiz. If we don't have a wicket, though, it will be at the end of the session that we do cut straight off. And that is in about 24 minutes' time for that one. Brendan McCullum looking very casual at the moment. Doesn't seem like he's in any rush. That was a hiccup. That's unfortunate. Hopefully we don't have too many more hiccups in the process. I've drunk probably not enough water today. So that is something throughout the sevens. I'll probably go sevens live stream, drinking a litre of water. And Ozzy, you're in good company here. Bianca says, oh, do I say that correctly also? Is it Bianca or Bianca? Because I know of a Bianca who was at our school, but I don't know whether or not that's just the Kiwi twang saying Bianca rather than Bianca. So is it Bianca, number 1, or Bianca, number 2? Do let me know. It's played by Rassie van der Dussen once again. Well, that man's got an inflatable air guitar, and you'd have to say he's probably had quite a few beverages at this point in time, and also AFR, and also did someone mention a quiz? Only if there's a wicket in this over. Or you know what, I'm being generous. This over or the next over, then we get to do a quiz at the end of the session. Because England, they need one soon if they do want to try and shut this down from the South Africans. Nicely played by Rassie van der Dussen. Hits it to the leg side. Manages to get the single. Very nicely done. It almost became a song at one point. Van der Dussen getting close. And hey there, Bianca says far. Brought 1 for 20 off 9.3. Trailing by 131. They're slowly cutting it down towards that 100 mark, which was somewhere that we mentioned. If these two can get a 100-run partnership and let the man get some rest for the sevens, says Sebastian. And there's although to be fair, the 7 starts in 2 hours' time. So I don't think there'll be much resting in between. It will more than likely be getting the thumbnail ready. Or doing all the thumbnails, I should say, doing all the titles and everything, getting them scheduled, and then going from there. Maybe, Sebastian, if I get that all done relatively quickly, do you want to hop on chat and have a chat about when we're going to film our series? Because the time zones, I know that I'm terrible at working them out. But yeah, do you want to discuss when we will be doing that one and kind of how we'll lay it out possibly, if you can? Just because I am going to be awake anyway till tomorrow. Well, not quite tomorrow, but about 16 hours time. Stuart Broad. Bouncing ball. And that's a nice shot from Keegan Peterson. Going close. And Discord. Yeah, Discord could work if that is something you're keen on. I think Discord's one of the only things I know how to kind of use. And nice listening to the cricket on YouTube and watching the F1 qualifying on my PC. Lots of different sports going on. Says Cited. Certainly is. I think Spark Sports got quite a few of them, doesn't it? Oh, we've got Daz and Gaz as the two people Well, we're in the hard hats. Interesting. And I'll say it's too Hamish. If you call me by number one accent, you'll get a pain in your groin. Okay, so it's Bianca. Okay, so not Bianca. Bianca. Is that the right one, or did I get that around the wrong way? I think I switched what one was number one and number two. You get a pain in your groin. I think it's Bianca. I've called you Bianca throughout the rest, so hopefully that's the correct one. Sorry, I've said about 15 times of what it could be, so now it's probably going to be, like, I'll get the answer to one of them, but I'll probably be around the wrong way as well, won't I? Now, end of another over. We've got 6 balls till we get to 60 overs gone, which means 20 more overs till we get to see the new ball. I got kneed in the bollocks by a lady once. She reminds me of her. Says Sebastian. How does one get kneed in the bollocks, Sebastian? You must have, I tell you what, we probably shouldn't share the story on this, depending on what it was. And also, you've muddled it up, Mr. Mish, says Far. And also, Bianca, says Ahmad. Bianca? Maybe. Maybe not. And the Dawson once again on strikes. Ben Stokes been relatively economical. And Bianca, it's great writing it out, but it has a different thing. I had a girlfriend like that once, the knee, says Nathan. Like, so while you were dating her, she'd knee in the old no spot, or was that like after you finished dating, she decided she'd give you a good ripper right before she parted ways with you? It's a interesting, I guess, ending, isn't it? That hurts. I've actually had that before. Wait, did I get kneed or did I get punched? I might have gotten punched in the balls at school because everyone went through that tap sack stage. You know, like, yeah, it's weird. Like, did you guys go through a tap sack stage? Like, I never took part in it, but then I randomly just got sucker punched in the gonads because that was what everyone was doing. And so you kind of go, okay, that's weird. Now what's 9 plus 17? And you just kind of get on with the maths. And you know me, Hamish, it was just something that I said out of reflex, says Sebastian. I woke up to rugby, had breakfast for a bit of Premier League footy, and now in the middle of a test cricket and F1, what sporting weekend so far. And also the Sevens coming up later on today. If that is something you are also keen on, that is just around the corner as well. All stepping across a little bit there. Rassi van der Dussen in 26, says Far. And they're 26. 26. 8 balls, still 60 overs, says Nathan. 8 balls or... hang on. My scoreboard might not have been updating. Hopefully it is not too bad. Now 4 balls off now. So I'm but stepping way across Rassi van der Dussen. He's got one of the most awkward-looking techniques out there at the moment in the South African lineup, but he's one of the most effective the way he has been going. And 9 plus 17. Oh, yeah, no, that was the answer. Yep, good job. That was quick maths, wasn't it? And got dumped by a Bianca in high school. Yeah, fun times is cited. Now 2 balls left and only 17 minutes left of this session. And no, it's the English pronunciation, definitely not the Afrikaans one. So it's Bianca. I'm just going to say that one, Bianca. And I want to see a yes or no. Bianca. I'm not going to throw on the other one because or else then I get myself muddled, as you've learned. Stokes charges. Oh, it was almost off the edge. And I think Joe Root knew it because he was thinking he was in with a little bit of a chance being able to take that one. Pearson moving up to 41. 36 for Rassi van der Dussen. Trailing by 129. They've actually had a good session here for South Africa. They've been ticking over the runs. They haven't lost a wicket. Surprised we're still batting. Thought we lost more wickets, says cited. Yeah, I mean, 3 wickets in that first session looked like it was going to be downward doors or downwards for the South Africans, but they've actually brought it back very well. Oh, Stokes has gone down. I don't think that is much of a surprise that Stokes has fallen down because he normally throws absolutely everything into that bowling. But 4 overs bowled by Stokes, 4 runs off it. And now 60 overs down, 135 for 9. That's all right. Listen to me, it was for 3, not 9. What happens here for Stokes? I think, he just follows through too far. And also, fair enough, there were 2 Biancas at my school. Maybe. Oh, there's a wave from a man in the commentary box. I'm not too sure who that is. And also, lol, says Far Peterson. He's got 15 minutes. He actually could get to the half century. If he gets a shot to the boundary, he will be extremely close. Oh, Jack Leach is back into the bowling attack. Interesting choice. And now it's becoming boring, says G2 Geeks. Yeah, there's not a lot happening. It's either we're seeing a couple runs taken every once in a while. They're very slowly ticking up. And then alongside that, we haven't seen any wickets from England in this session. So like I mentioned near the start of this one, I felt this session was probably going to be one with hardly any wickets and also probably not that many runs being scored. So we've kind of had I guess you call it the dud, but the rebuild of the session. Both these sides, just to make it a bit closer in this contest. But 82 kilometres, that one was going off Jack Leach. Okay, Stokes has come over to him and looks like he wants to help him set his field. Jack Leach says, yep, all right. And also, I've never met Bianca in my life. And day 2, session 2, wicketless session for England. Day 3, session 2, wicketless session for South Africa. So it seems to be the middle of the day is the best time to bat. How did the last session go for them yesterday, Sebastian? How many wickets fell? Oh, yeah, that was nice from Jack Leach. You like that one very much. Almost got it in the right place at the right time for Jack Leach. Oh, that's Irish or uppish. And I was like, yes, thank you. That one, and sorry on behalf of all those who suffered all the knees for my namesake, says Bianca. Oh, yeah, sorry. I have been calling you the other one pretty much the whole way through, haven't I? So I do apologize for that. How's the pitch doing? They said it was drying up quickly. Yeah, it does seem like it's still very true bounce. I don't think we're seeing too much variation. But yeah, it does look very dry at the moment. So there'll be plenty of spin and turn in the later days. If we go to the later days, that is. And few quick wickets fell in the third session, but England were already in a strong position. Sebastian, whereas for South Africa here, they're probably still trying to rebuild, find their way back into this test match. 128 they trail by, though, and that is a very big improvement from what we saw at the start of the session. And Dawson doing nicely, keeping that one out. The forward defensive. Oh, a bit of an arm ball there from Leach, and it's gone straight through the gap in the field, but they have got a man at deep cover. So is it? I think it's Bianca out of those two. That's the thing. They're both spelt the same, aren't they? I believe it just depends on whereabouts you're from in the world, how you pronounce it. I'm going to slightly slouch down. It's probably not good for the posture, but it feels comfy at the moment. But yeah, like I mentioned, 4:20 a.m. is our first live stream that we are doing for the Sevens. That is going to be South Africa, and they are taking on the USA. Then after that, we have got Samoa. They will be going head-to-head with Kenya. That should be a pretty hard-hitting affair, I would think, between those two sides. Fiji versus Wales, New Zealand, USA, Samoa, Scotland, Fiji versus France, Australia versus Argentina, and New Zealand versus South Africa. And then followed by Samoa versus England and Fiji versus Ireland. All those contests all taking place in the next 12 hours, or in fact, the next 11 hours or so. Ben Stokes charging back into bowl. Outside of off stump, left alone. I think I heard a bit of a grunt from Stokes. He wasn't happy with that delivery. Wanted it to be a lot closer, putting more pressure on Van der Doosen's outside edge. This has been a good session for South Africa. Just call her Lady B. One shot to the bollocks is enough. Trust me. And there and B Yang Ka is excited. Stokes. He needs a wicket as the captain here. And he might get it. No, it's through a gap. It's a great shot from Rassie van der Dussen. It hasn't made it to the boundary. Ollie Robinson able to cut that one off. He does now pull up. All right, van der Dussen, 39. Peterson, 42. Also, the plane and a car in there as well. Or is that a B? That's a B, not a plane. Sorry, it's far away. It also flies, though, and is the no ball and wides rule still exist in cricket? Does indeed. Although no free hits for the test match for no balls. But, yeah, it's still... We've seen a couple wickets throughout these test matches that have been no ball deliveries. Ollie Robinson, perfect example in that first innings. And also, it's a B and car. Jimmy Anderson currently just testing out the sunglasses, making sure they are still in tip-top condition. They are talking about the fact that Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad do rip into each other normally. And what is the time left on this game, says Levi. So for this test match, we have still got day 4 and day 5 to come. So another approximate 180 overs plus another session today, which will be starting in about 30 minutes' time. So there is a lot left. Plenty of time for both of these sides to find themselves towards the victory. No wicket at 60 overs, says Nathan. Yeah. And two no-ball wickets for England. Robinson in the first, Broad in the second, says Sebastian. Who was Broad's no-ball wicket in the second, Sebastian? Was that earlier? That would have been earlier today, was it? Or was it yesterday? Might have been was it yesterday, last night? Or was it... Oh, yeah. No, that's gone along the ground. Every time I hear something that sounds kind of edgish, I think it is going to be out, but it is not the case. It's not how cricket works. Another 2 runs taken. And now van der Dussen moves up to 41. Both of these guys are going to be extremely close. I think YouTube should develop a facility to send voice messages, says G2 Geeks. It would be interesting. See how it would work. And Aidan Markram bowled, says Sebastian. And will these two batters get their 50? They're getting close. I thought it was a wicket, says Nathan. Yeah, sorry about that. Got a bit excited for that one. I'd say 2 more overs, maybe 3 in this session. And not great at cricket, but I know England got it, says Lee. A bit of extra bounce there for van der Dussen. That's the end of the over. 141 for 3 now after 62. So I think they'll get through 3 more now that I think about it, because you've got Leach as your next over, so that won't take very long to race through. Then you got probably Stokes again, and then Leach to close it out. New session, you go straight into Stuart Broad, Jimmy Anderson, and see whether or not those two as a partnership can get any wickets. It doesn't look calm as ever, but got rid of Makram quickly afterwards. That has no idea where his stumps is. Says Sebastian, yeah, a lot of people are saying that he's going to be the one out of the side who does end up getting dropped if they do end up making a change near that top order. Got to be good for you, doesn't it? I see ball by Leach on middle stump there. They might even get through another 3 after this one. So if it goes Leach, then Stokes, then Leach, then Stokes, they might get close. It's only 2:34 a.m. New Zealand time. They've got another 6 minutes left. If this ball gets away to the boundary, though, there could be a different story. But if I was Leach, I'll probably be bulldozing through these overs, trying to get closer and closer to that new ball. Got to think strategically about it. Whoa, that's a shocking delivery. Oh, and well, actually, he does know it's out of the ground. Yeah. Who was the one a while ago for the Kiwis who couldn't quite work out? Was it Blundell who kept on leaving everything and it kept on going on and hitting his stumps? Oh, it's quick work from Joe Root, but he did have his bat down in the end. for Pedersen, who now sits on 42. 143 balls faced. That one's on the middle stump. Leach, not too bad there. 62.4. And also Will Young. Oh, is it Will Young who keeps on having shockers, trying to find whereabouts his stumps are? So when do New Zealand play their next test? Is it actually up against India as our next test matches, or is there something before then? One ball left of the Jack Leach over. All dragged down a little bit, and that is going to be well fielded and close. That will be the end of the Jack Leach over. It is now 141 for 3 after 63. So a maiden there from Leach. Oh, I recognise him. That's not Gower, is it? Paul Allen. I think they've just said. I'm trying to recognise all the ex-cricketers, and I can't recognise any of them, I don't think. I'm not very good at recognising them from the distance. I heard that Ross Taylor is going to play a Big Bash League. Yeah, he is one of the options in the draft. That has actually taken place today now that I think about it. I'm actually going to have a quick look before we get to the end of the session. I want to see whether or not they have got the BBL draft being shown in New Zealand, because I know that it is being shown in Australia. No results for KFC. That's a shame. Big Bash League, one season. The Big Bash draft tonight at 8:30 p.m. Live coverage of the Big Bash League draft with over 170 nominated players. The draft is hosted by Adam Gilchrist, Michael Hussey, Darren Lehman, Kath Launen, and Mark Howard. I wonder how long the draft goes for. So it doesn't actually say, oh, Sky Sport 3, right, I'll be able to work this out. And well, we only heard that, oh no, and here's Geek. And there's our, says fast. So Sky Sport 3, we drag her over. There's an ODI between Australia. BBL draft goes for 2 hours. So it goes from 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. And Bolt says fast. So yeah, after that, we might have to do some sort of video talking through all the players who have signed for who in the BBL and who they end up with and their squads. It's unfortunate. That's one of the times that I was hoping to be sleeping. So I'll probably have to sleep throughout the day a little bit later on, and then from there, balance it that way. Now, 3 balls left of this over and totally off topic, but can you please explain the rugby plus soccer sport you guys play there? The rugby plus soccer sport. Rugby plus soccer. The rugby plus soccer. Do you know the name of it? It's not AFL, is it, Tom? Or is it? Do let me know. You should cover the New Zealand versus Australia ODI series. We have got plans of being able to do that series, hopefully. Oh, good ball from Stokes. That's the better length. And yeah, Latham got bowled as well. His famous good leave. Ball struck between middle and off stump. Says Sebastian, always the worst feeling as a batsman when you leave the ball. Actually, I've had a bad feeling as a batsman when you try and cut the ball away and it just doesn't work out. You try and cut it and it hits off stump and you go, that was too close to cut as you walk off the field, unfortunately. Right, Stokes, he's got 2 balls left. Relatively slow back to his mark, but I believe there'll still be enough time for Jack Leach. And the one where you pick up a ball and shoot it goal. Where you pick up a ball. Oh. Where you pick up the ball. Is that handball? Is that the one? Handball or netball? One of those two, maybe? Pick up a ball and shoot it goal. Yeah, is that handball? Could be handball, maybe. Is it Gaelic, or is it Gaelic football? Says far there. There's a few weird ball sports over here in New Zealand, isn't there? When you think about it. And I was like, yeah, but that leave was awful. Usually it clips off stump. In this case, 2 stumps got relocated. Oh, stepping across. Ben Stokes was just about celebrating for that one. It's going to be the end of his over and 1 over left now, and it will be Jack Leach who is bowling at Stephen Adams. NBA said in New Zealand he goes hunting boar with a knife barefooted. Is that a true thing? Probably. I mean, those people who go hunting, they're a breed of their own, really. So it wouldn't surprise me if he goes barefooted. And how long till tea? Probably about a minute or two till we get to see the tea break. It is just one more over of Jack Leach. I believe they had just enough time to be able to fit that in. But then after that, that will actually be the end of our cricketing live stream. So we will get ready to set up for the sevens, I would imagine. Chris says far there. Now, Jack Leach, 19 runs off him, 18 overs bowled. And also the one with soccer ball and a soccer goal, but you get to pick up the ball. Yeah, I think that is handball. Catch him. Nope, it's not quite gone down the way that they needed it to. If Jack Leach can pick up a wicket here, that would be huge for England's confidence, seeing as they haven't been able to get one as of at this point. Oh, no, it only hit the pad anyway. It wouldn't have been out if it had gone to Pope. Peterson still sitting on 42. It seems like South Africa, they've dug their heels in. They've said, right, we're batting out till we get to the tea break. And then after that, we can reassess, decide what kind. Oh, tell you what, there might be an edge there. There is. So there could have been the wicket of Rassie van der Dusen, but England didn't go upstairs. They didn't hear the noise. And that's quite a big edge as well. So that's quite surprising that they didn't pick up on it. For England, Rassie van der Dusen, he'll be very happy, but England, they will not be happy at all. Jack Leach there, nicely done. That delivery, but yeah, an opportunity in the last over to have picked up the wicket of van der Dusen. Yeah, no one really went up for it. I think handball was played on a court. Says it is indeed. Yeah, similar to indoor soccer, I guess, the layout of the field, except you're allowed to hold it. It's got that little half circle. Quite an interesting sport to watch. Batters are in callous mode, blocked till the end. Says Sighted, and unlucky, says Sebastian. I think Ben Stokes, he's definitely seen the replay at this point. Having a bit of a chuckle about it. Outside of off stump, nicely played by Peterson. Only a couple balls left to be able to face out before we get to the end of the second session of day 3. Talking about van der Dusen, how stone-eyed he is the whole time. That would have been close to an LBW. If you missed it, and also true story, says Nathan. And there as well about Stephen Adams. Right, one last ball. We've seen Ben Stokes dismissed on a final delivery of a session. We've actually seen it for one of the South African players as well. Right. What we got here from Jack Leach. On the stumps, in behind it, safe as houses. And that will be the end of the second session of the day. Brilliantly batted by South Africa. They didn't lose any of their wickets. And now 141 for 3. Thanks a lot. But as a Kiwi, why do you care? Because of McCullum, I just love international cricket. I feel like a lot of the games that we do cover on the channel, we don't even really have to have any Kiwis involved, any Australians involved. It's just, I love watching test match cricket. It's the whole side of things of 5 days of concentration for these two sides. We do cover quite a bit of South African rugby on the channel. Watch a bit of English rugby and there as well. But yeah, it didn't, like, if Brendan McCullum wasn't captain, if Ben Stokes wasn't in the team, because I know a lot of people say that that's the Kiwi connection, I still would be watching this test match and more than likely doing the live stream for it. We stream day 4, says Ahmad. We will see how we're going. More than likely, we will be sleeping at the time that day 4 has taken place, though. So it may be a bit of a stretch to get any of the sessions in, but we will have to wait and see. Maybe we get to do a day 5 if these guys do keep on batting the way that they are. But 141 for 3 currently for South Africa. Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson both having the 1 wicket there, similar to what we saw in the first innings with those 2 men on the leading wicket takers, getting 3 each in the first innings. But South Africa, they have almost matched what they were able to get in their first innings with only the 3 wickets down. Now it is a 20-minute tea break. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning into the live stream. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have got plenty of Rugby Sevens coming up a little bit later on in the day, so be sure to tune in for that as well. That will be starting in about an hour and 30 minutes time. But thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the